Hello, I'm John Sargent and welcome to Argumental, the show where the sharpest minds in comedy debate the biggest issues facing mankind. Should Britain become a republic? Are the ice caps really melting? And will Jennifer Aniston ever get the message that it's over between us? You've got to move on, sweetheart. Here to argue such burning issues and others like them are our teams. In the red corner, it's Marcus Brigstocke and his special guest, Will Smith. And joining Rufus Hound in the blue corner, please welcome Dara Briain. OK, we kick off the show with round one, where we debate a major issue that's sending many of us right off our trolleys. I'm talking about these. Supermarkets, those mammoth, out-of-town Aladdin's caves with their enticing 2-for-1 offers, cheap booze and convenient parking. It's the Garden of Eden, just off the ring road. Its shelves groaning with delicious food, cheap booze and 3-for-2 chick-lit. It's never been easier to come home with a car full of stuff you don't need. Did I mention the cheap booze? But the issue I want the teams to argue over is this. Big supermarkets are ruining Britain. Proposing the statement on behalf of the blue team, it's Rufus Hound.
Big supermarkets are ruining Britain. The British people, the British landscape and the business of being human. They are the giant bastard sons of the Thatcherite greed for good mentality, and the only people who could defend them would be the kind of dead-eyed robots who'd had any traces of humanity bummed out of them at prep school. Hello. Good evening. We know these places are evil, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at their slogans. Sainsbury's used to advertise that they were making life taste better. But life has no taste. What they should have done, if anything, was spend that time making their meat pies taste better. Tesco's is trying to tell us that every little helps. It's so seductive, isn't it? Every little helps. There you are buying soap when underneath you spy a little yellow tag that says, was £1.11p, now £1.07p. And you think, ooh. But ladies and gentlemen, I've cracked their code. The messages are there. Allow me to demonstrate. Anagrams. Anybody know who would be the father of Lidl? So who would be the father of Lidl? Yeah, Adolf Hitler. That's right. Adolf Hitler. Not my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. The cold, hard facts of anagrams. Here's one for you. I'm evil jabs in your arses. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that would be Sainsbury's Jamie Oliver. And finally, what should you fear at a racist death spa? Fear nothing. Know that merely that's Asda price. Ladies and gentlemen, big supermarkets are ruining this country.
OK, next up, opposing Rufus but supporting big supermarkets, it's Will Smith.
Thank you. I'd like to say that far from ruining Britain, supermarkets are actually enhancing all our lives. They're giving us choice. I don't want locally sourced produce. I live in London. What am I going to get? Rats, pigeons and dog shit. Well, that's one pie I don't want to bake. Without supermarkets, we wouldn't have supermarket trolleys. And what are people who live on council estates going to use as prams then? I'll tell you what, they're going to come and steal yours. And let's not forget that far from ruining Britain, supermarkets have given us one of the greatest broadcasters in television history. Dale Winton. Yeah. Rufus mentioned robots, I believe, in a homophobic insult directed at me and my team member. I want you to imagine a world, say, 10, 20 years from now, where We, the humans, are at war with the machines, led by Skynet and Cyberdyne Industries. The machines send back a robot assassin, if you will, a Terminator, to kill the leader of the human resistance, John Connor. John Connor sends back a fighter to defeat the Terminator. This fighter travels back through time. He arrives naked. For some reason, clothes can't travel through time. Where else is he going to find food, clothing, and rudimentary weapons but a supermarket? In the crazy blue corner world, the freedom fighters of the future are going to be arrested as streakers, John Connor is going to be killed, and we are going to be enslaved to robot overlords. Well, not on my watch! Supermarkets aren't ruining Britain, they're saving our asses! Vote red!
Thank you, Will. So Marcus and Dara, do their arguments stack up?
I recently saw a documentary about this Terminator of whom you speak, and I don't remember the bit where he walked around Sainsbury's for 10 minutes.
Well, you obviously haven't seen the film that recently,
well, I
because
should
he comes
save
back
Sarah
for...
Connor, but
No.
oh, the value on this Dolmio is fantastic.
Don't listen to his bullshit,
like
all right?
myself would like
Kyle
a
Reese is
nutritious
chased through a supermarket and a department store, which is where he gets clothes and food. He then gets weapons from a police car, so I maybe kind of conflated that slightly. But nonetheless, he gets the long coat through which he conceals the sawn-off shotgun that he ties with a bit of string that he pulls out in the nightclub where he first encounters the T-1000.
Easy. Dara, listen, I respect
I haven't
you.
had sex in a long time.
Dara, do not battle Smith on nerdy facts of sci-fi movies, my friend. You are entering a world of pain.
Were we to suggest that this debate could be steered away from the notion of robot overlordage? Just look at who's trying to stick up for them here. The reason that they're basing this argument on spurious sci-fi documentaries is because these are two men who think a supermarket is one in which shares in toffee noses and silver spoons double in value.
Ouch. Is that the blue corner or the green corner, Envy?
Vote blue, get green, Smithy.
You can't graze in a local shop, though, can you? Because they can see you doing it. In a supermarket, you can pretty much...
try the grapes.
You can eat 3 or 4 meals worth before you actually make your way out.
I'm sorry, are you under the impression that it's some sort of lending library that these companies are running?
What, the supermarket?
You can try out the grapes, and if they don't appeal to you after a while...
Not just the grapes. I've eaten a whole raw grouse in Waitrose.
This is the issue. When these two think of supermarkets, they think of Waitrose. Now, obviously, nobody here's ever been to a Waitrose.
It's not just Waitrose, it's also Marks and Spencer's and Fortnum and Mason's.
But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. If that was our shopping experiences, then fine. This motion could never stand.
What exactly
but
are
it's
yours?
not that.
So where do
it's
you
the
shop?
Aldi's, it's the Lidl's.
You've never been in those.
All right, no.
Dara, do you really hate supermarkets, or are you just putting it on?
Well, there's an element of putting it on. That's what the show's about. But unless I grossly misunderstood the brief. I thought it was the gist of it. But no, I can understand the way. I see, for some reason, we seem to... It's either tiny corner shops or supermarkets. What about those streets of individual shops of small business that have been torn apart by them? That's what we're really giving out about here.
OK, thank you, gentlemen. So, are big supermarkets ruining Britain? It's time to ask our studio audience. It's a red card for Marcus and Will and a blue card for Rufus and Dara. Vote now. It's very close, but I think it's red. A victory for the red team. Yeah.
Who's doing the counting here? Who's doing the counting? Who is counting those votes?
Well done.
Look, there are people here who saw that. Was that blue or was that not blue? That was blue.
Shut your face.
Loads.
You partisan bastards.
Who is doing the counting?
Listen.
You're making a mockery of this.
Listen. Price check on aisle 5. You
All right.
came second.
thank you. Return to your seats, gentlemen. We have a few more rounds to
medical
go.
issue.
There is
You're not
no.
actually colour blind, by the way.
No.
You could see that they're the same.
OK, the red team have won, and they've convinced our audience... The red team has convinced our audience that big supermarkets are not ruining Britain. We often buy things at the supermarket we don't want. During last summer's heat wave, I bought 8 cans of dog food, but by the time I got back to the car, I discovered I didn't need it. Right. Next up is our head-to-head round. One person starts the argument, and every time I press the buzzer, their opponent argues the opposite. Marcus and Dara, you're up for this one. And the topic I'd like you to debate is this. The theory of evolution is nonsense. Dara, I'd like you to start us off in favour of the statement.
Theory of evolution is that due to minor changes, we will improve and grow and develop over time. And that's been happening as long as life has been, as long as the human's been here, which is 14 billion years of tiny genetic mutations leading to gradual improvement. And that's the theory. Here's the fact. 14 billion years of tiny genetic mutations leading to improvement after improvement after improvement. And apparently this is the case. Why do we still have Kerry Katona? I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, just as Mr. O'Brien can try to disprove the theory of evolution with one name, let me prove the theory of evolution to you with one piece of fruit and one hound. Go ahead. This, of course, comes from our simian roots. Look at that, all the concentration going on there. That is Hound trying desperately not to eat that piece of fruit using his feet.
Yes. But maybe there are monkeys, if we brought them onto the show, would be just as good on a panel show as you are. So therefore, we have no idea. We have merely found an interchangeable monkey man. That's all we've proven there.
There's only 2 choices. There's evolution or there's God, right? And your version, the God version, is bollocks.
I don't remember mentioning the big G at any stage. No, mainly because I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God.
You, sir, are Irish. You're only atheist when you're over here.
You think that I bless myself when I land in Dublin Airport?
I did. When I went to Dublin, I went dressed as the Pope. I thought it was the safe thing to do.
Well, it's not. OK. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that with my theory of evolution, which I don't feel any need to really draw out the specifics of, but nonetheless, my infinitely finer theory of evolution, you would get to sleep with much more attractive people, OK?
You can trust Darwin. He's a scientist with a beard. Scientists are supposed to have beards. He had a beard, a tweed suit and a boat. That's how you know he was correct.
Stick with me and some of the toddy you're going to pull is going to be phenomenal. Far than you could possibly imagine.
OK, thank you, gentlemen. OK, the theory of evolution is nonsense, or is it? It's up to the studio audience to decide. It's red cards for Marcus Brigstocke or blue cards for Dara O'Brien. Vote now.
One for the Reds, then.
Hey, Rufus, let's just hear how he calls this.
That is the dance of the leader of the monkey sluts.
OK, it's very close. But it is a blue majority. So, bad luck to Marcus, but well done, Dara O'Brien. During his time abroad, Darwin discovered that several monkeys contained large quantities of his DNA. Well, with all that time at sea, you're bound to get lonely. OK, that's it for part 1, but join us after the break when we'll be finding out if duvets are better than sheets and asking, is Tom Cruise the best actor of all time? Don't go away. Welcome back to Argumental, the show that provokes more appalling views than a bus tour of Birmingham. Right, next up is the slideshow, where the teams illustrate their argument using a series of pictures which they've never seen before. Will and Rufus, you're up for this one. Rufus, I'd like you to start off by arguing that duvets are better than sheets. Here's your first picture, and away you go.
Duvets are obviously better than sheets, and anybody who thinks that sheets are better than duvets is probably a member of the clan. With a duvet, ladies and gentlemen, you get the TOG value, the thermal insulation, that speaks of great luxury, of a cosy sense of being in bed that is, frankly, unsurpassable. Imagine that, all wrapped up with a lovely hot cup of tea, just enjoying a Sunday morning. How could that possibly get any better? I'll show you how. When the person lying next to you slowly peeps up their head... and you go at it like rabbits. Look, you don't need me to tell you duvets are better than sheets. You already know this. Indeed, as I was saying only the other day to a taxi driver, why don't you pull over, climb in the back with me and get under this duvet? He said, what about the fare? And I said, I'll pay my own way once you realise duvets are better than sheets. Vote blue, I thank
you. Thanks, Rufus. Up next, arguing that sheets are better than duvets, it's Will Smith. Here's your first picture. Off you go.
Sheets are, of course, better than duvets. It's very hard to entice a potential lover into bed by pointing at the bulge in a duvet. There are too many bulges, but put me under a sheet, Billy Smart's in town, the big top is up, and this elephant wants to hose you down. I once slept with Philip Schofield. He was hot as a lover, and he also had a high body temperature. Luckily, we were under a sheet, which meant we could cool down. If we'd been under a duvet, he would have sweated me to death. The static charge you feel when you get in some wash sheets is like nothing on earth. It's like lightning going down your balls. Duvets are fundamentally evil, as this next picture proves. Duvets are made from the wigs of judges, who, as we all know, are, sorry about this, upper class and out of touch. I once slept with Mary Poppins. She was red hot. Luckily, the sheets could help us cool down. If it had been a duvet, she would have sweated me to death. Vote red!
So what is the best, the duvet or the sheet? It's time for our studio audience to decide who made the most convincing case. It's red card for Will and a blue one for Rufus. Vote now. Another close vote. But it's a victory for the Blues. Well done, Rufus Hound. The duvet became hugely popular immediately after the Second World War in France. They'd used up all their sheets to make white flags and surrender. My bed sheets are made from 100% Egyptian cotton. They smell of camels, and I've had 2 humps in them. Next up, it's our popular culture round. Tonight, we're discussing a man who can only be described as a Hollywood giant. It's Tom Cruise, the vertically challenged, sofa-hopping thespian who's Planet Earth's ambassador for Scientology, a Beckham-bothering star who's overcome many obstacles to get where he is today. Light switches, door handles, high shelves. Huge in the 80s, massive in the 90s, and still enormous today. So, the statement I want you to argue is this: Tom Cruise is the best actor of all time. First up, it's Dara O'Brien.
So, Tom Cruise, ladies and gentlemen, an actual size replica of Tom Cruise. See, this is the thing about poor old Tom. Tom gets so much grief off people, like, not just because he's a tiny bobble-headed man. But you still go to his films, you still enjoy his films, even though the amount of baggage we have about the tiny one is so horrendously massive that when we watch it, we don't just go, but you're tiny and a Scientologist, midway through the film. I'll get the spy out of China, he'll say in Mission Impossible 2, you go, no, you're only wee, and you believe in weird things. The fact that we don't hold it against him on screen must mean that he's the greatest actor in the world. Because most time actors, when the film starts, we're kind of here. We're at the 0 point, right? But with Tom, we're already down in negative. For him to have risen up to this level indicates one of the most amazing thespian minds we've ever seen, ladies and gentlemen. That doesn't matter who he's playing and whoever he brings his unique talents of running and grinning to. No matter what the film is, genuinely, hand on heart, can you name a genuinely bad Tom Cruise movie of the last 10 years? And we'll allow for the ridiculous one. And I will go to suggestions if I see any hands raised. I'm willing to take on board possible suggestions. Is there any? One go.
Far and Away.
I meant in the last 10 years. I'm saying the man's done Duff Food films in his start. Vanilla Sky. It was a problematic shoot from the very start. That didn't quite work, but fuck it, I hoped it did. Anyway, now I'm just a man roaring, because frankly, a minute ago, I disproved Darwin, and I was ready to rest at that stage. But no, they dragged me back out again to pick on this weird dwarf and tell you how great he is. He's clear. I'm done. Listen, you've got to love the effort. Ladies and gentlemen, as one we rise. We rise for Tom!
OK, very many thanks. Next up, opposing Dara and Tom Cruise, it's Marcus Brigstocke.
Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, I saw Tom Cruise in a one-man play and he wasn't even the best person in it. Tom Cruise was taught acting at the Dean Gaffney School of Acting Skills. He is entirely shite at acting. He is so bad at acting that when most people went to see Top Gun, they left saying, Val Kilmer was good in that. Do you know how shit a co-star you have to be for people to say Val Kilmer was good in that? It's astonishing. He only got the role in Top Gun because they couldn't afford real-sized planes. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Cruise is not the best actor of all time. He's not even close. They are currently making a movie of Tom Cruise's life based on this period of his life, and they haven't asked him if he's available. Ant and Dec are playing him. That's how shit he is. He is never the best actor of all time. One of my favourite movies of all time is the fantastic Aaron Sorkin film, A Few Good Men. Right? I adore that film. Tom Cruise is in it. He practically ruined that film, and that, Dara O'Brien, is the truth. But you can't handle the truth. He's never the best actor in the world, honestly. Even pick either one of the Chuckle brothers and they could act this turd off the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you, please vote with the red team. Thank you.
OK, Will and Rufus, do you think Mr. Cruise is a good actor?
I'll tell you why Tom Cruise is the greatest actor of all time. He's actually 11 feet tall. Not a lot of people know this, but he's so brilliant at acting, he just appears small. That is what a brilliant actor he is. I don't know if you can get this on this camera, but he has to stand... I'm having to work out the perspective now.
Oh, wow.
Is it nearer and I'm further... It's him further away. He's 11...
Go that way.
Rufus,
do I go that way?
Go that way. You need to be smaller.
You're going to have to hold this, I'm afraid.
Higher. No,
yeah, about there. Sorry, thank you.
Go back.
What's that, Tom? Take the ring to Mordor?
OK, thank you very much. Thank you all. So, is Tom Cruise the best actor of all time? Hold up a red card for Marcus and Will and a blue one for Rufus and Dara. Vote now.
The greatest actor of all time.
Right, there we are. It's a win for the Blues. Well done, Rufus and Dara. Tom Cruise is devoted to his wife, Katie Holmes, and puts her on a pedestal. Well, that's not going to help, is it? Tom Cruise is a classic Hollywood leading man. He enjoyed A Few Good Men, had a large part in Jerry Maguire, and in his most recent film, he manages to pull off a Nazi. Time now for the final round and a last chance for our teams to show just how argumental they really are. I'm going to show them a series of images. All they have to do is suggest an argument to go with them. OK, here's your first one.
It's an argument in favour of making your garden more attractive to blue tits.
I think it's an argument that the manufacturers of Scottish fake tan are doing a terrific job.
That is an argument for getting a detailed quote off a builder rather than saying, surprise me.
Next picture.
This is an argument that, despite all possible scientific theories up until this point, there is no situation in which Sting isn't the most irritating person in a room.
This actually is an argument for Sting to go, listen, Trudy, I think you've overdone it on the foundation. It's an argument for Marcel Marceau to break 50 years of professional science and call Sting an arsehole.
OK, let's move on.
That is an argument for Tom Cruise to remake The Last Emperor.
This is an argument that no matter how irritating he may be, you should never put your husband in a hot wash.
This is an argument against cheating in international leapfrog tournaments.
I think this is an argument in favour of making sure you are there at the All-China Hide-and-Seek Championship finals when the winner finally reveals where he's been.
OK, that's it. So for the final time, it's down to our studio audience to decide who made the best case. Red for Marcus and Will, and blue for Rufus and Dara. Vote now. So, I can tell you that the blue team have won the round, which means this week's winners are the blue team. Well done, Rufus Hound and Dara O'Brien. Commiserations to Marcus Brigstocke and Will Smith. That's all we've got time for. Good night.
More Argumental on Tuesday night. In the meantime, you can carry on the argument at joindave.co.uk by reading exclusive Argumental blogs written by Rufus and Marcus.